All right, if you were watching my Twitter last week, you saw I got a mystery package that I wasn't talking about. Well, here it is in all its glory. It's the Heat Boys HB0012 TMNT Leonardo Mecha. Or Leonardo Mech. It's very cool. This is it's coming soon. The product feels finished. It came in unfinished boxing. It came in that plain white box, and didn't have. I was sent a picture of an instruction sheet. I don't know if that's the entirety of the instruction sheet. There's a couple things I had to figure out on my own, which was easy enough to do. But all that documentation will come with the final version of the figure. But it showed up. Got to check it out, and right off the bat, let me tell you, this thing is fantastic. Like, there's always a little bit of a when I haven't experienced a company, and could it be plasticky? Could it feel a little too Gundam-y? Could it not? Is the fit and finish there with companies that I haven't dealt with before? And I gotta say, it's all there. This is just fantastic. It's fully licensed. It does, like you can see, they even have the fully licensed Ninja Turtles logo there on the base, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But here he is. Like, this is Leonardo fully loaded. This is one of the many different loadouts you can give him. There's lots of configurations. I'm not going to be able to show every single way you could conceivably attach things to this guy in this video, but we'll give you an overview because it's very extensive and very cool. One of the first things right off the bat, you can pop his dome off here, and there you can see there's a little circuit board inside there. And getting that out took a little bit. You want to get like a little toothpick or something to pry this out. But it takes two AG1 batteries. You slide them in there, reattach the helmet, and then there's this little quarter pizza slice here with what I thought was originally a battery, because it says a power. It has the power symbol here, and I thought this was a battery just included in a little cute little plastic case. This is a magnet. So once you have the batteries in, just like with some of the other figures, you tap his head, and okay, that did. Come on, did I? I can't tell if it's just my. There we go. It's hard to tell with the lights on. Let me see if we can't turn these off a little bit, because his eyes do light up. There you go. That's actually kind of a cool little, the light coming down from the top. Okay, so they're blinking. He's got different settings. So you tap it, turns them off. Tap it once, and the eyes come on, and they stay on solid. Very similar to the Galaxy Convoy, the Energy Commander that Fans Hobby just put out. So you tap it once, lights come on, tap it twice, and they do a kind of blinky effect there. And then tap it again, they turn off. And I really like that technology being incorporated in a lot of figures these days. Like, just the ease of not having to hide a switch somewhere on the figure, an ungainly switch, or building that functionality and make like a cutout in the head so you have to depress a piece. Just tap a magnet, lights up. Very cool, very neat. Glad to see that becoming more of a commonplace thing. So, weapon armament. I'm going to go ahead and, here he is all holding all of his weapons. We're going to strip him down to his base essentials and talk more about some of the stuff here. Now, he does have this little stand here. The poles screw into the base, so it's very secure. Like, I could grab it right here and pick it up, and it feels very solid. The pole's not going to slide out. It screws down into here. There's a couple different pole lengths, so I got to find the other one, which is... All right, so somehow I hit the button and stopped filming accidentally there. But anyway, different length pole. Let me see if I can get this in the frame. I had to turn around to grab it. So you've got two. You can see this one will screw into the end here. You can unscrew it. And once that's in, this one gives you a couple of extra inches of height. Although even the shorter one holds him just a smidge. You can see if you point the toes, they touch. But it holds it just a smidge over the base. But if you want some more action poses, more high flying kicks and stuff, you can give him a slightly taller pole. And there's also a different attachment here that's slightly angled and gives him a little bit more oomph. Dynamic posing here in his melt one. And we'll talk about that when we get to all the little bits and baubles that attach things here on the mech. The mouth on the head opens. We'll get to articulation once we get all of this stuff off of him, because the configuration, you'll see here's a port. There's a port on the plastron. There's a port here on the hips. There's a hidden port under this little cap here on the leg. I haven't. See if I can get my fingernail underneath it. I pushed it in too far. Yeah, here we go. It's starting to move there. Come on now. But right here, there's this little cover comes off just in the same way that these little gold covers come off on the forearms. You can pop that off, and there's a connector port under there. Can I get this one out easier? Yeah. There we go. So you can see that little calf piece comes off on each side, so you can store the. I've seen the pistols. You can actually have all of his gear attached. As it is right now, he's got all of his weapons. Some shuriken, the smaller swords, both guns, the larger rifle, the katana, the shields. Like they're all attached here on his body. But if you want more space, like I've seen some pictures that have the pistols attached down here on the hips while he's holding the rifle. There's all sorts of different configurations you can do here with just the pieces. And as such, the case in point, let's go ahead and let's take the guns out here. The guns have cool, like some nice detailing all around. A small little, like the little warning symbol around the tip. Just some technical detail and markings. The barrel spins. It's a separate piece. That's really cool. And they're both the same. Some nice metallic paint for the sight, and I guess it's a laser sight or something with a piece down here. But very nicely done. Like everything about this is just a really nice, nicely finished package. Now this piece right here, you can see there's 2 shuriken, 2 short swords. And that just pegs on, the connector is pegged into the forearm, the covered forearm peg over here. But you can take these shuriken off these pegs. You get 4 of them. This one had 2, but there are 4 in the package, in the tray. Now this connector piece holds the handles in. Like there's some notched connectors, and the katana have the same notched edges that you can put to make them face the proper way. This connector is very tight in here, but I found that, again, you want to be careful. The swords are a nice metal, the handle's a solid plastic, but if you take both of them from either side, just kind of like this, and just kind of very gently press up, and just use that angle to kind of pop that piece loose, then you can grab it and slide it off. Don't force it, just gentle pressure, and that pops it right off. And you can take the smaller swords out. And again, just the heft of these metal swords is insane. And the katanas are even bigger. The katanas, I think, almost cut me earlier when I was touching the blade. But anyway, you can take this, you can reconnect this centerpiece. But then these hip panels, these panels right here are pegged into some connectors at the hips. You can plug them into the shoulders if you want them to give them shoulder armor. Again, the customization on where everything goes is fantastic. And they even have these double hinged posts. So when if you have them attached to the hip or the shoulders, they can move, they can extend, they can twist and rotate. They can get out of the way when you're posing them. Very nicely designed. But then you can fold these up so they're flat, and then you can take them and attach them. You have to, like I said, you have to take the shuriken off. But now, those panels in that middle panel, now he's got a riot shield. And you can attach that onto his arm, onto that same peg, like that. And it can rotate on that peg, and now he's armed to the teeth, and there you, I mean, like, not armed to the teeth, but like now he's got a shield. His mouth opens. He's just playing with his mouth, so he's got a little opening mouth there on the mech. We haven't even gotten to all the cool stuff this thing does. But yeah, so you can do that. You can take the rifle off. Here, the clips all have to go on a specific way. The top part here is thinner versus this thicker peg. So you want to make sure the thinner part goes through this guide up here on the top of the rifle. But when you're taking it off, push that through first, and then kind of unclip the bottom, or actually unclip the bottom, and then pull that out. So you just want to make sure that goes on the right way, because you don't want to risk messing up the paint or the clip. But then you've got the rifle itself. The pump works on the shotgun. There's some cool, clear little mutagen, let's call them mutagen canisters, but these can slide out of here, and you can actually plug them into the front of the gun like that. And there's actually even little markings. It's hard to see, but there's even some black little detailing on these canisters. And you can take that, and again, either hand. The hands have an angled tab, works with the handles, and it also lets him hold the katana at a cool little thing, at a cool angle when in his hand. The thumb can get a little bit of the way here, but then you can wrap the fingers around it. Once you get it in there, you can hold the rifle pretty securely. And now there he is with his shield and his mutagen shotgun type pump. It looks very much like, very reminiscent of a pulse rifle from Aliens. But you can see like just the cool markings, all this TMNT-01 in very tiny print here on the chest. We'll zoom in. He's got the L on his belt. That's cool. But just nice, just beautiful little details all over this thing. So we'll go ahead and take the rifle. We're going to slowly kind of dismantle him down to his base turtle form here. So we can go ahead and take this off. And we'll go ahead and undo this peg. It was pegged in here. And one of the things that's neat, the manhole cover here on the stand is, in fact, a functioning manhole cover. Because if you move his legs out of the way here. In here, there's room in here to store. I don't really think you could get every single gun in here. Like the rifle, obviously, is not going to fit. But if you wanted to put these canisters in here, the pistols might fit in there with all the pieces. But in here is all the little covers. Like there's the cover for where the stand plugs in. Here's the other cover for this forearm. Or actually, this forearm over here. So we'll go ahead and put that back on. And like I said, here are the clips for the smaller pistols. And again, when you put these on, you want to be careful with how you do it. And I found the easiest way to do it is to clip it over the sight first, and then use the spinny barrel there, or chamber, yeah, to just, not barrel, chamber, but to help roll that around. And then again, you can plug this in down onto his hips. You can plug it in down in here onto the thigh thing. You can plug it in onto his shoulders if you want. Excuse me, I'm talking too much tonight. But that's how those clips work. And again, to get it off, push over the rotating barrel. That'll kind of flip it right over, and then it comes right off. And that's the easiest way to deal with those. Here is the slightly angled stand piece. You can see it kind of angles up versus going straight over. We'll talk about that. A piece to make the murder copter. We'll talk about that. 2 extra shuriken. These little clips that I'm not entirely sure what they do. I don't know if these are for the small swords, which have gone somewhere. I don't know if these... Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what goes in here. Because I've found clips for everything else, but there's a couple of these little clips here. So, a quick addendum from after the fact. It turns out these blades actually do fit in these, not in the way I was doing it, in that you want to have the peg facing up, and the blade facing... I guess you could do the blade either way. But the blade actually goes in vertically like this compared to the slots. And it just kind of uses the 3 pieces to clip. And then once you get it down here, you can clip that whole golden piece in just to kind of lock it into place. But then this assembly, like this, you'll notice there's a specific angle here on this part of the connector because it goes under his forearm. It plugs in that forearm slot, and now he's got... the ability to hold it. I don't know if maybe there's a peg here you could have him wrap his hands around. But like, yeah, so now he's got an arm blade as well, and you can store them there. You can actually get him to hold everything pretty securely if you don't want to do the spinning thing of doom and you have something attached to his hips already. You can, as you can see, attach. What are you catching? Oh, the shell there. You can have these blades attached here. You can put these in on both arms. Okay, you can't put them on both of them because this one's plugged in over here. But this is another thing I found you can do with the shield. If you don't want to do either the small blades or the large blades on it, just putting the shuriken on looks really cool, just as a kind of a small shield, small bladed shield on his other arm. That's how I've had them displayed, and it's really very cool. So yeah, figured out the mystery of the clips. They go in like that, and then you can attach them under the arms. So that is what that connector piece does. Mystery solved. Anyway, back to it. There are some Again, some little clips for the smaller swords to clip into, like that, and then you can put them on the hip if you want. And pop that back off. Come on. Here we go. There we go. Off of there. There is, you get two little model sprues. Apparently this is going to be you can build a turtle van, and these are the wheels for the turtle van. And also a little tiny transparent green Leonardo figure. These are apparently first run bonus. The standard will come with the same thing, but in a solid black. That's the connector for. There's the other Leonardo. So just to give an idea of the little pieces there. There is also a solid and transparent version of of this little driver Leonardo, which can sit in the turtle van, but also pilot the mech, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But yeah, working manhole cover reveals storage unit in the base for. Let me plug it back in. Oh, come on. There's cutout notches. There we go. For all of these bits and baubles here. Well, obviously the shield and the little rifle won't fit in there. But all the extra stuff, you can put the little magnet for the battery, whatever you want in that storage base. Get those out of the way here. So we're almost getting down here. Here is Leonardo. Mostly, and that really is kind of here's a base Leonardo. It's Leonardo with his katana on his back, and that's essentially what you want out of Leonardo. We'll go ahead and unplug him from the base. Popped off his plastron bit, which is fine. We'll clip it right back on real quick. That was I should have opened that up or taken the plastron bit off first. Hold on, clip back onto your clip. There we go. But we'll take him at the base. You can see plugged in right back here. And again, the cover for it was in the base. We'll just plug that right back in like that. But here's a look at his back. You got more detailing here on the plastron. All these little pieces open and move. Let's talk about the stand real quick, because like I said, this is the base, the shorter peg, flat adapter, and you can unscrew this pole here, and then this is on there pretty tight, but you might want to actually take the pull this off before you unscrew it, because that's on there really well. But then you've got a longer pole with an angled adapter, so when you have it attached, you can again, when he's attached to the, let's get this out of the way here. There we go. Let's open that up so we can plug this in. And you see now he's kind of sitting at a backwards angle, so if you want to get some more dynamic poses out of him where he's doing a flying kick or whatever, you can do that. Like you can get him things like that. Not the greatest pose there, but whatever. Just so you get an idea. Go ahead and take him off of that. But you can see all just how I'm posing him. One, how easy it is, and just all the joints. He's like I say again, the weight of this thing is impressive when you start messing with it. Go ahead and push this back into place. So there he is. We'll go ahead and again take the katana out, and again, the length, the heft of these things for such small little swords, because this whole blade is metal. And again, every time I run my finger down it, it's not sharp enough to cut me, but it feels like if I'm not careful, it's going to. So you put that in, attach this to the tab here, and you can see it kind of holds it at just a slightly more natural looking angle with the sword in his hand. Now granted, I put them on the wrong side. Come here, you. And peg this onto his hand here. There we go. Wrap his hands around it. And there he is, Leonardo, with his signature katana as a mech. Now the bandana don't move; they just stick straight out. That's only a concern. Like as long as you don't let him fall. That's probably the one piece I can really be concerned about actually snapping if he fell. Everything else is pretty tight to the body and conservative. Maybe you could snap one of these longer supports for the katana, but even then I feel like this would pop out first before it actually twisted enough to snap anything. But those are the only thing I worry about in a fall. Granted, the stand is super secure, and even without the stand is nice and supported and very cool. Just something to be aware of. You can see the belt detailing. The katanas are in clips. Again, you can slide these out of the clip here. And these can unpeg as well. And here's just the base Leonardo with his swords. And again, these are separate pieces. Like the slidey clip pegs into this post, which pegs into the shell, and you can slide these right off the end, or you can unclip them like that. So yeah, base Leonardo. I'll go ahead and take off the katana and talk about just Leonardo himself, and we'll go over some posability here. So again, the mouth opens. Oh, there we go. Open the mouth. The head, you can see it's a ball joint. The head actually comes detached, just FYI. You have to snap it onto the ball joint up here. But then you see the neck has a very good range of motion, much like a real turtle. So if you want him to have a taller profile. But it comes up. Ball joint there. You can see there's a hinge here at the back of the neck. But then even the piece that neck piece is connected into comes up out of the body some. You can see it moving there. So a lot of range of motion in the neck. The shoulder pads can move up and down and get out of the way. You can see the mechanical joint under there. You've got a rotational joint there. The dual hinge shoulders, bicep swivel. You've got dual hinged elbows. You saw that little piston move there in his. You see it kind of come through and come back out as it moves, which is really neat. And there's even that under in the elbow, that inner blue piece, so it doesn't look gappy or weird. It looks like a mech, which is really cool. He's got a wrist swivel there with the whole assembly. The thumb is on a ball joint there, and then which can rotate, and then a hinge there and a hinge there. Same with the fingers. They're on ball joints with double hinges at each joint. Well, I guess not. There's only a single hinge at this joint, but you can see there's two hinges in there. So you got a really good range of motion in the hands and the thumb. He's got an ab crunch. Not a huge ab crunch, but it is there. And also, the plastron has its own little crunch, so it bends with him. You can keep it, even this doesn't come straight out. This can actually stay flat against his body as well. Some really nice design cues here. And a quick update from after the fact here on the ab crunch. We showed he's already got a pretty impressive amount of ab crunch. And there's that angled piece on the plastron itself. But he also has, and again, it's a testament to how much articulation they put into this while also making it pretty much seamless, is that these two little side pieces right here and this middle core piece, you can actually untab that and lift that up right there on the chest. And then that opens up even more range of motion in the chest. So you can have them really bend. You can really get a crunch there in the whole body. And then again, that plastron piece, it doesn't stick straight out the back, can actually bend with it, which is really nice. So you don't have any of the gappiness. Just, again, the level of articulation and detail they've put into this thing with these elbow covers and the little knee bits, and how everything expands and contracts. Really fantastic work, and worth showing off. But anyway, there's the update on the ab crunch. And again, we'll take you back to your regularly scheduled video review. Just design detailing. It does have a waist swivel, although again, you want to get the plastron out of the way while you're doing that. The dual hinge hips, which you see don't click, but have a nice range to them. But also, they have that kind of droppy hip as well. Or maybe it's just a swivel. thigh swivel. You can see as the same kind of the piston as this piece comes out from under the knee guard. This panel comes down. This panel can move out of the way here. Just a lot of, and you can even come down like that for more poses. Just the sheer movement in this thing, and again the heft, like just holding it up here is wearing my arm out. You can see the mechanical joint there in the foot, each individual toe, ankle tilt. This whole assembly moves, and then the toes move individually as well. So just a lot of really nice design. And again, the plastron, let's get to its secrets. Because you can open up these little side panels here. Come on, you. Well, you saw this panel come down. This panel comes down. This piston here moves. This panel comes down. This panel right here comes up. These panels right here open up. So you can see the canister in his back. And if you rotate that canister in there, there's the transparent green Leonardo pilot that I was talking about earlier. So there's a little Leonardo pilot that goes in to the pilot seat and then rotates around for protection. Come on, keep rotating. There we go. To fully pilot the mech, and then you can close this. This one, depending on how you pull this out, that's on a double hinge. Close that up, close up the panels, fold that up in there, and now he's all up in his shell, protected, ready to go, and pilot his mech. And then he gets in there, and then of course, boom, power's on. I don't know how well the lights showed up on that because I've got so many lights on this thing, but turns on the lights, folds in the armor, and then he starts attaching the weapons he's going to need for the mission, which he can choose from any of the ones that we've shown. Now, one of the other things that I hadn't talked about, or I talked about but didn't actually explicitly show, so we'll go ahead and take these panels off. And like I said, if you want to, you can attach them up here as there's got to be a dual hinge up in there that I'm not getting all the way. Yeah, there it is. That's the case. I'm just not getting the dual hinge all the way up. But you can plug them in up here as bigger shoulder armor. Yeah, popping. This one's actually a little stiffer than the other one, so getting it out is a bit of a pain. There we go. You plug those in like that. But you can take these, and just like before with the swords, again, that middle piece, it can be a little bit of a pain to get started. Once you get it going, it pops out pretty easily, but you got to get it a couple millimeters out before you can really easily pop it apart. But you can take the katana in here, and again, they're matched, so they actually do kind of match up like helicopter blades where they're opposite ends. Plug that back in to hold them together. And now he's got this mamma jamma of a murder copter, and there's a handle here that you can plug in, so you can have it. If you want to, you can have him wrap his fingers around it and hold on to it as if it were actually a murder copter. You know, it's loose. It doesn't have a peg. It doesn't have a tab slot in it, but if you want to, you can have it as a hand weapon. Like he's just. Again, it does. His fingers don't close quite tight enough around it, but it's an option. Or you can also you can do the same thing and attach it to his forearm, just like you could before. There's not actually a connector in the middle, but if you want to give him the flaming murder wheel of doom, I guess it's not flaming, but it could be. And again, the same way, you just kind of pry those up, it'll pop that middle piece out. So yeah, all in all, there's just a lot of... It would take me all night to show you all the different ways you could attach, reattach, combine all the weapons into this thing. But you've got a nice solid storage stand, a very hefty and cool and incredibly detailed Leonardo. And again, all the weapons: katana, short sword, shuriken, 2 guns, a giant rifle, a mutagen rifle, the shield, the riot shields, the panels. Like, it's a very impressive package, and a very solid toy. I guess it's not really a toy. This really is a high-end display piece. That's a lot of fun to mess around with, and if they nail it like with all the other ones, like they're doing with this, I mean, like the turtles. I mean, I feel like this one's so solid. I have no reservations recommending all of the turtles because the base is going to be the same or mostly the same, and they've nailed it. They've absolutely nailed it. I'm really curious to see how the Shredder mech ends up coming out because that's going to be a really cool villain for these guys to fight. But yeah, wholeheartedly, if you have it pre-ordered, you're going to be thrilled with this thing. If you don't have it pre-ordered and you've been eyeballing it, get on it because this is, like I said, I was nervous. I was nervous when it was on the way, thinking like, I hope I like it because this could be really hit or miss. But it's a fully licensed, super solid, and really well designed Ninja Turtle mech. Also, real quick, I forgot to grab him just to show you how big he is. He's pretty solid. There he is with Super 7 Leonardo. So he's not giant. He's not like he's not as big as a Hot Toys Iron Man, but I bet he weighs twice as much. Maybe not the die-cast ones, but yeah, he's big. He's cool. Super solid, and just the detail is insane. I mean, like just look at all the colors pop. There's a different color of beige on the shell in a couple places. Little red bits. All the little detailings are shaded in. Like I don't feel like you would need to do any panel lining on this thing for the people that like to do panel lining because anything that you'd want to panel line is already picked out. There's like little gold vents here under the abs, not the abs, the pecs. Different colored blue vents here on the bottom. Picked out little blue details, the silver on the belt, these little detail like TMNT-01, and just this tiny little print. Really fantastic job. Super happy with it, and I love the little light up bit with the magnet. Again, that's a great feature, and I like that they made the magnet a little like quarter pizza slice. Anyway, that's my review. It's really solid and really good. I wasn't expecting to gush about it as much as I am, but it's that good. I mean, like it's worth every bit of the price. But there is the Heat Boys TMNT HB0012 Leonardo mech. Just fantastic. Also, if you want to get him, you can get him at bombusb.net. You can find him on Twitter at bombusbnet. And yeah, I mean, like I said, absolutely worth grabbing. Get it. It's just super awesome.